That's one of the things I appreciate about Indian cinema is that it's not one thing. People try to pigeonhole it. It's like anything. I feel like Indian cinema can be more diverse than American cinema.
I have to say I've not subscribed to the channel because there are two reasons.
I hope you stop doing that. People will complain about remakes, but until remakes stop making money, you're going to see more remakes. If we do K3G versus another reaction to Kumbalangi Nights, K3G is going to destroy Kumbalangi Nights. If you look at Indian films from the 90s, it kind of feels like American films from the 80s. But today, all that's gone. The hardest lesson to learn with YouTube is that no one gives a shit as much as you do. And that is both good and bad. You can't prepare for AI. Like, you don't know where it's gonna go. You have no idea what's ahead.
Do you ever feel or have a fear of, getting like irrelevant in a sense that, one day, people will stop watching?
That's an interesting question.
So guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Nona Prince and this is Life of Movies, where in the podcast we talk about people who have passions and create a career out of it. And I hope this one you enjoy because I've been after this for so long, almost 2 years I would like to say. We talked about it how we got Jaby Koay, who I think most people should know because he was a first people who started doing reaction to Indian content as a foreigner, and I think he's still the number one, I would say, with a lot of subscribers, if that's how you want to calculate it. But finally I got to him. I've actually got inspired from him watching his videos to start my own YouTube journey. So there was many things I wanted to ask him. We talked about Indian cinema, movies, how he went about it, how he started as a single creator and then expanded to a whole team now, and about life, about his, is he happy in his life? All that. His relationships, that's very much a talked thing on his channel. Many things. I hope you enjoy this. This is a special one. And again, if you enjoy these kind of discussions, do like, share, subscribe for more. Have a pleasant viewing. I think it's like, in India we say, Acha Shagun, good omen.
Aksha Shagun?
Yeah.
Okay.
A good omen to start.
Okay.
I think it will go well now.
Okay.
So
the word that I've been holding on to and using obsessively is jugad.
Yeah.
Just make it work somehow.
I think Jugaad for every technical issue is just restart it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, probably.
First of all, thank you for doing this. This is still surreal for me.
Okay.
I always, you talk to me first time, I'm getting bad, getting to talk to you back.
You impressed me because you were like very politely asking again and again and again, like, and you didn't give up. And you're like, hey, Jaby, would it be cool if you did a podcast? I'm like, yeah, for sure. I'm really busy right now, but yes. And then a couple of weeks go by, hey, Jaby. I'm like, oh. And you were nice about it every single time, and you were really exemplifying that persistence is key. I didn't hear from you for a while. I'm like, oh shit, I need to do that, and so that's why I reached out to you. Yes, it's been nuts. I appreciate you being patient with me.
No. I think I know what happens behind, so it's very hard to give such time. But thank you for doing that. And I don't know if you remember this. When you hit 1 million subscribers, I made a video, and I think you did see that. But okay, I will not put you in a spot. But I just talked about
No, it's fine. No, I remember you making a video and sending it to me, and it's like one of those things where I had 100% intention to look at it, and I don't know if I did or if I did not. It might have been one of those things where I told Achara, hey, we got to react to this video, and she's like, yes, and then it just falls to the wayside because of 1,000 things popping up that we have to deal with.
No. I think you did leave a comment on that, so I assume you may have seen it.
Then.
Yeah, yeah.
Like even last night at 1 a.m, I was talking to a company because they want to get us to do like an interview / reaction, and it's not a small company, it's a really big company, and I'm like, I need to go to bed. So every day's crazy, and I apologize again.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, what I said was, you were the person, watching your videos who inspired me to start my YouTube journey. So, it's very, I'm happy to have you to talk about your journey. So, people who want to get into what they're passionate about, what are the struggles they face, and maybe relate to you at some point, through your journey. Yeah, I think even, everything from editing, from how to, make the frame look in the reaction videos, all of that. The outro, check out this video. I literally based it, the animation on how you did it. So it's thank you for that. Thank you for being there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thank you for watching, and I'm glad that it inspired you. Apparently, it's inspired a number of people because I've been seeing more and more Indian reaction channels popping up, which I think is actually really cool.
Yeah.
Because I would see comments complaining like, "Why are we looking at Westerners? Why aren't we looking at Indians?" I'm like, that's not my fault. So,
Yeah.
but then eventually we started seeing more and more Indians pop up like yourself, and I'm like, this is awesome. I'm glad that, they're celebrating their own stuff in that way, in a similar way.
So I'm not gonna bore you with the questions. How did you start? Because I know I've been on the journey with you, and I think audience watching, if you don't know him, find out. I'm sure most of you know. So my first question would be, do you agree with this notion that, if you do what you love, you'll never have to work a day in your life?
Yes and no. No matter what you do, at some point it will feel like work. I mean,
Yeah.
I, d- I was about to say something crass. But even the most intimate things that you do with a partner will feel like work sometimes. You know, it's like everything feels like work. Even the most pleasurable things in life can feel like work. It's like at a certain point it just does. But but you still are doing something that you really appreciate and love doing,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't want to do anything else. It's that I think at a certain point you reach a, I hate to use this phrase, but it's the only one I can think of. You reach a take it for granted point in your journey. And when you hit that, that's when it can feel like work a little bit. Eventually, something wakes you up and you realize how awesome your life is. And you're like, oh, yeah, yeah, this is why I do this. And this is why this is awesome. Because I used to do that over there and that was terrible. And I'm doing this now. So, yes, it's like, it's not work in the same way that, it doesn't feel grueling the way like a regular 9 to 5 might feel. But there are, challenges that you encounter that can feel tiresome, Doing what I do specifically, you encounter copyright claims several times a week that you have to you got to go through the dispute process.
Yeah.
You got to then go through the appeal process. You got to go through all this stuff just so that you can monetize your work that you should be monetizing anyway, because it's all part of the promotion for the film in some capacity or brand awareness. I remember there was one company in particular who I'm not going to name, but there was a company who would constantly hit me with copyright claims. And at the same time, they would promote my video on their Twitter page going, hey, look, Jaby watched our video. I'm like, why are you claiming my video? It's like that kind of relationship. And it's not India. It's not just India. Like, this is something I deal with in the States as well with American companies where they're asking me to help promote their thing, and simultaneously I'm fighting a copyright claim, and it's just because the left hand doesn't know what the right is doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if you heard about this, but a long time ago, I don't quote me on this. I feel like I feel like this is accurate. When Peter Jackson made Lord of the Rings, he was editing, right? He was in the editing house. Then he'd have to go across the lot to the legal department because he was fighting a lawsuit with that company that he was working for. Like, he was suing the company. It was
What?
the weirdest thing. It was some kind of strange, bizarre thing like that.
Like, I think the companies you're talking about, both Hollywood and India. Going through your life, right? Like, do you think 10 years back, 15 years back, the person you were would have thought what you're doing today will be your career path?
No. I thought I was going to be doing something else. I thought, I thought I'd be on movie sets directing or something like that already. And I haven't lost my interest in that. I have a very strong interest in that. I realized, what I did more than anything with my friends was talk about movies. And
Yeah.
so it doesn't necessarily surprise me, but but I didn't even know what a YouTube was, 15, 20 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
it's a very recent thing if you think about it. And the fact that we can have a career off of this is still remarkable to me. The things that we get to do today that were not available when I was 15 years old. So I would be like, well, it's kind of sad that I'm not making movies, but being in my position, I'm like, but this is pretty awesome. I don't know, like the way I get to interact with my audience is, I feel like, different than the way a director might get to interact. Like, I get to make videos all the time and constantly adjust every day
Yeah.
and interact with my audience every day. And that's a luxury you get when you make YouTube videos or just content online that you don't necessarily get when you're making films, because you're investing in a story for years at a time.
Yeah.
There you go. There's your answer. It's weird and messy, kind of like me.
Hearing that, because I also have a similar background with you. That's why I think relate to you more with, you come with filmmaking knowledge and then you're talking about it on your channel. And do you anytime think, or is that an insecurity that, what you are doing right now is not as meritful as if you had been making original content or making original, films and everything?
I used to obsess over that, or not obsess. That's the wrong word. I used to think about it regularly. At some point, it went away, because the
Okay.
thing, if you think about what I do on YouTube is pretty much what everybody on YouTube does. I was
Yeah.
watching an interview today. There are these two YouTubers I watch at least once a month who interview other people
Colin and
related to
Samir.
YouTube. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. They were interviewing a guy from YouTube. They basically were saying how everything on YouTube is really just fan videos.
Yeah.
Like if you think about it, you're just a fan of something. Like Marquez Brownlee, while his videos have way more pizzazz than mine do, when you boil it down to its most simplest, the seed of what it is, right? He's a fan of tech.
Yeah.
Like that's the heart of his video. He's a fan of tech. I'm a fan of movies. We're both just expressing our fandom of something. And that's what a lot of YouTube is. If you're not watching like the news or something, they're just fans of money. So,
That makes a lot of sense.
I don't mean to downplay what journalists do. I apologize. That was just a joke. But at one point, I did feel kind of awkward about it. But like reactions is like that is a lot of YouTube. Maybe not everybody's doing a picture in picture like the way we do.
Yeah.
And like the movie reactions, but so much of YouTube is reactions. Like even now, that's a whole huge genre on Instagram and
Yeah.
TikTok and whatnot, or even YouTube itself, where it's like you're remixing videos. You're reacting to something, and then you're having your There are so many videos I've seen where like you're watching this entire thing, right? And then the last 10 seconds is a guy's reaction to it. He literally just makes a face. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
How did you get to monetize that when most of the video wasn't even you saying anything, you know? That's how that's where I it's like there's been an evolution of my feelings, so to speak.
Yeah.
I don't really think about that anymore. What I do think about though is how to elevate what we do. There are little things here and there that we've experimented with. The most recent thing that I can think of off the top of my head is something with Andrew, who is a host on our channel, called
Yeah.
Flash Trivia.
Yeah.
It's not dead, for those who are wondering. We did two or three experiments with it, and it was okay. But I think that we're going to continue to try to do that because it's like it's a new angle in expressing fandom. That's
Yeah.
not simply reactions.
I think that was a really good answer because I think about that a lot sometimes, and sometimes people comment, right? Oh, you're talking about film. Why don't you make your own film? And it's like saying MKBHD talking about smartphones, make your own smartphone. I think that becomes a similar thing.
I think that people put too much stock into that idea. I mean, the critics have been a staple of the film industry
Yeah.
for a very long time. And, everybody at the end of the day is kind of a critic. But you just have people who are a little bit more, I guess, qualified to talk about it because they study it so heavily. Whether you're someone who watches a movie every day or whatever, or you went to film school, or you have some kind of film background, like, critics are important, I think. I have a slight anecdote. So there's this person I know who I kind of grew up with, who was able to like really break down to me what a good fight scene is, what a terrible fight scene is. And he was able to like point out to me like great martial arts styles and great choreography in movies and whatever. Then I found out when it came to him choreographing anything, he was terrible at it. And I was like, that's so bizarre because he's really good at talking about it. And the thing is, some people are just good at critiquing. They don't have to be good at making a movie or good at making fight scenes. Some people are just better at critiquing than they are at producing, you know, and that's their field. There's this a guy who did an online film school called Dove S.S. Simmons. I believe that's his name. There's a DVD series that came out years ago. He kind of brought that up. He's like, if you know everything, why don't you go make a movie? And he's like, because I'm here to tell you how to make the movie. I'm not here to make the movie. I'm here to tell you how to do it. I'm like, that's interesting. And you just kind of accept it.
Yeah.
It's like that like that's his position. If you don't want his advice, then don't listen to his advice. But like that's his position, is to tell you how to go make movies. He doesn't want to make movies. He wants to be the guy to tell you how to do it.
I think it's similar to what teachers are like. A person maybe great at teaching engineering, but maybe not be a really good engineer.
Yeah.
So I was talking with the fellow film critic, you can call him, and there was a debate about, is content creation, is YouTube an art? Can you consider it an art? What would you say?
Can you consider YouTube content creation an art?
Yeah, an art form. Like it requires different skill sets, and not everyone can just jump and do it.
I think that it's such a subjective idea. I think that at one point I would get angry about like TikTok and Instagram and like how, you know, it still kind of makes my blood boil a little bit when I see these videos where people are just taking tracks and they're acting out like to this audio track. You know what I'm talking about? They do this all the
Yeah.
time on TikTok and Instagram, and or they're doing like a dance or whatever, and I'm like, this is what passes for content today kind of blows my mind because I've seen videos from friends where they're literally just like this, and that's the
Yeah.
video, and I'm like, what was that? Why did you just wasted my time for 20 seconds I can't get back? But you show that to someone 1,000 years ago, that's art, baby. That like that's gonna blow their mind. You know, it's like that's gonna blow their mind more than the Mona Lisa. Art is such a subjective idea. To me, all of it is art. It doesn't mean it's great art. You know, it doesn't mean it's highbrow art, but like it's that is such a generic word. And so I guess the way he's asking, your friend is asking the question, the connotation is that art is a word that should be reserved for things that require more effort.
Okay.
And so, but by that measure, it's like he clearly doesn't know what goes into making YouTube videos. You know, some people look at my channel and they go, "Oh, what you do is easy. You're just watching stuff." I'm like, you tried doing it.
Yeah.
Like I put in just as much time as Marquez Brownlee. It's just the distribution is different. He's distributing his 24 hours a day to his videos. I'm distributing my 24 hours a day to a lot more videos to higher volume. And even within that, Achara gets on my case all the time. I have a way that I like the videos to appear and be presented, and there are jokes sometimes in there. There's like my own personality, which is like, how is that any different from like a stand-up comic? What is art at the end of the day? I feel like I put a lot of heart and soul into what we do. I feel like it's art. It's not the same kind of art as like, let's say, a movie,
Yeah.
but there is still a creative design to the whole thing, if that makes any sense.
Have you ever break it down? Like, what is it in your videos that appeal to the audience? Do you ever think about that?
At one point, I was told it's because of Indians' need for
Validation,
validation from white people. I'm like, that's hilarious because people over here don't realize I'm white. I'm half white, and I always kind of didn't like that notion. But there are plenty of people who have come after me who are white, and people are not as interested in them. There are people before me actually who Bali Fools came before me.
Yeah.
What's his name? Tama Puck came before me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you're familiar with Tama Puck.
Yeah. I think you even
But-
mentioned that he suddenly disappeared or something like that.
He just switched careers.
Yeah.
You know, what was interesting was like I saw he hadn't put up anything in a while. It was one of those weird things because you know it's like I was competing with him,
Yeah.
and suddenly he stopped making videos, and I'm like, what the hell happened? It's weird that he's not there anymore, even though. Like initially maybe I didn't like him. Now I'm concerned about him. Like what happened? And so I wrote to him and he wrote back and he's like, "Hey, it's so cool of you to write. I just stopped doing it because I'm focusing on apps now and I
Okay.
figured you got it handled. I really like your videos, blah, blah, blah." And then I felt really bad. So, there's this sort of like competitive energy that happens where you're trying to be there first,
Yeah.
but you're not. But it's hard because like you're trying to balance between I'm trying to be present and have a genuine moment here, but quickly I got to edit it and put it out,
Yeah.
and get it out before they do. But then I missed him, and I'm like, shit, like that. It was kind of now you don't realize what you actually like until it's not there anymore. So yeah, he came before me, and we passed him up. We passed up Bali Fools quite quickly. And when that happened, when I saw that we passed up Bali Fools, I immediately reached out to them because I knew how it looked from their perspective without even talking to them. Like this
Yeah.
new kid shows up and just completely like has all these subscribers, and it's like they're just as qualified to talk about it as me.
Yeah.
You know, why am I getting all these subscribers and blah blah blah. And so we became friends, and I actually really tried to keep their channel alive. It was a struggle for some reason. I'm hoping they still come back and do something. They were the first. Bali Fools was the first to do what I do.
Why do you think it happened for you? Like why that sudden rise? What was that special thing, special ingredient?
I to be honest with you, I don't even know. The other day, someone was asking me something about like everything going well. And I go, I don't look at the glass as half empty or half full. I say, is there something in the glass? Okay, let's keep moving. You know? That's just like I just keep moving forward, and so I had never really stopped to think about it. I guess that enthusiasm for one thing,
Yeah.
and who was it? Chris Stuckman. I think it was Chris Stuckman who said it. You know, no one wants to watch a video of someone just taking a crap on something. People appreciate it when you come at it as a fan first. I came at look, first off, I had never seen any at the time. I was just kind of blown away because my only exposure to Indian anything was, and I know this is sacrilegious to mention, was Slumdog Millionaire, and then Chandi Chuk to China.
Yeah.
Like those are my two things, and I'm just like, and Slumdog Millionaire wasn't even an actual Indian movie, and so I had like no interest for the longest time.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I'm seeing these trailers and they look amazing, and so I was legitimately just blown away because I had no idea that existed on the other side of the world. I just shut that door for like 10 years during that decade. Like, I mean, even before that, there's so many great things that I just didn't know about because they didn't make it to my attention. Like, I think the genuine interest and surprise and also anything people had asked me to do, I was trying to honor those requests. I was trying my best to be as whatever the audience was asking for. There was no one else at the time doing what I did, really, except for Tamapuk and Bolly Fools, and so maybe people hadn't seen them yet.
Yeah.
You know, also I would bring on interesting people. You know, it wasn't just me. I would try my best to bring on interesting guests all the time. Not to toot my own horn, I have a very, very, very unique laugh. And so I feel like my laugh is one of those things that's kind of infectious. I just know that from being around people too. Like if I laugh, other people laugh. I don't know how I do it, but I kind of amp myself up even more to laugh about something. So whatever that threshold is to find humor in something, I will find it quicker than other people because I just enjoy laughing. And so that's another thing that like people just like enthusiasm and that kind of happiness, I guess.
I think
Does that help?
people.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I'll let you know what my perspective is on that.
Yeah.
So people can let us know their stories. Why do they feel? Why they like you? For me, I got to know about you from my sister who used to watch Real Rejects, your brother's channel.
My brother. Okay.
Yeah, so she used to watch
Yeah.
that for Hollywood content, and then through that she found you, and then she showed me a video you're there, reacting to Indian and I've never seen anything like this. And I think the first thing, that validation question, it's more like it's not just yeah, they are superior and they are talking about us. That's the thing. I think it's more about that for so long after the British left, we were so put down that finally outside world is realizing the potential of us. And to see that step by step. And I think for me it was how genuine and honest you were, and also your filmmaking background, because you didn't say, oh, it was amazing. You told why it's amazing, and those breakdowns, and the way you explain, and that camera angle, how does that work, and noticing these things. I think that when it just brings merit to what you're watching, you're learning something. I think that's something I've noticed a lot in the comment section. So I think that's something as a great pull. And
I have no idea. I have no idea how much of the audience cares about that. It's impossible for me to measure that. The comments might indicate this is what people care about, and you try to cater to whatever that is, and then no one cares. And it's like it's so hard to know really what's drawing people in. I often say that I have a better sense as to what my Indian audience likes versus my American audience. And it's like it's weird because the American audience is so much smaller, the Indian audience is so much bigger, but still you're dealing with 2 million plus people, and everyone has different things that they're drawn to. You're drawn to the film commentary. Other people are just drawn to enthusiasm. Some people just like the American validation. Some people like my laugh. Some people just want to look at the pretty girls. There's something for everybody there, I suppose. And I try my best to make as many people happy as possible in whatever way. And for me, it's just like, as you can see in this podcast, I just love to talk. And so an excuse to talk about movies and relate. I love to relate to things, and sometimes that pisses people off, but it's like, it's something that I do all the time. I think a lot of people do it, where it's like, you want to feel seen, right?
Yeah.
And so the ability to find likeness in something, whether it's here or on the other side of the globe, is fun, you know? It makes you feel like you're part of something.
I'm sure. I think if you distribute, Bollywood is the most asked for, the most content that is watched, and then other industries in India. So how's that experience? I think you've talked about it. How it's very if you do Bollywood, people say why not South? If you do South, then say why not Bollywood? I think that happens with every channel. But how do you look at that?
We look at the numbers.
Yeah.
And if you just look at anything recently that Andrew's done, right?
Yeah.
And you look at when he does a Bollywood reaction and you see the numbers, and then when he does a South reaction, depending on which region of the South,
Yeah.
you see the numbers, and it's like it makes you think that people are just not interested in that thing. There's another part of me that realizes that maybe if I just kept putting out that content, more of those people might show up. But I have no idea. All I know is what I'm working with immediately, right? And so whatever I put out immediately, I can see what people are responding to. If we do K3G, you
Yeah.
know, or versus, I don't know, man, another reaction to Kumbalangi Nights.
Yeah.
It's K3G is going to destroy Kumbalangi Nights,
Yeah.
and there's a number of reasons for that. But you're still dealing with Hindi versus, a South. So it does seem like Bollywood is more requested,
Yeah.
generally speaking, but I just might have a larger Hindi-speaking audience. And again, it goes into the feedback, like it goes into that loop, right? Of like, well, if you do more South, you might get more South audience, but then you're gonna get the Hindi people getting frustrated with you. And so I have thought about splintering the channel even further and having like a dedicated portal for like the South stuff, but like we already feel spread thin right now. Once
Yeah.
maybe as our team gets bigger, we can do that. But as of now, it's like we just try to balance it where we have a circulation of, okay, we've done too many Hindi, we got to do South. Okay, we've done too many Telugu, we have to do Tamil. We've done too many Tamil, we got to go back to Hindi. It's just a balancing act.
And I think the pan India phenomenon has also maybe helped you in a sense, because now people are watching every kind of content in India. So I think there'll be more viewers watching, a Tamil or a Telugu movie reaction than previously, because they would have heard that about the movie.
I think that in some ways, like I'm glad that that's happening. I've longed for, ever since dealing with the battle in the comments of like,
Yeah.
why are you looking at Tamil? You should be looking at Telugu. You should be looking at Malayalam or Hindi, and like that makes me just wish that it was more pan-Indian as opposed to being divided. When I saw that Arjun Reddy got remade into Kabir Singh, I was just like confused. I'm like, it's the same country. Why don't you guys just dub it? But like Kabir Singh did insane at the box office. People will complain about remakes, but until remakes stop making money, you're going to see more remakes.
Yeah.
I feel like remakes are going to continue to make money for a while. You're going to have parallel audiences, right? So if you look at like Indian movies in the 2000s,
Yeah.
it feels like stylistically, it kind of feels like American films from the 90s.
Yeah.
If you look at Indian films from the 90s, it kind of feels like American films from the 80s. But today, all that's gone.
Yeah.
Today, it's like you're getting everything at once. You get films that feel like they're 10, 15 years ago. You get films that feel like they're competing with American cinema, like Pathan.
Yeah.
It's like you get everything. I know that people were kind of making fun of Karan Johar, but that film has a very classic vibe to it. And I like that about it. That's one of the things I appreciate about Indian cinema, is that it's not one thing. People try to pigeonhole it. It's like, no, it's just like American cinema. It's everything. If anything, I feel like Indian cinema can be more diverse than American cinema, because we get kind of pigeonholed into two categories. It's like, is it Marvel or is it indie? Like, which is it? Is it like a new Batman movie, or is it George Clooney's The Descendants?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what we deal with here, is this very binary system. Whereas in India, you get a lot of movies that it's like, wow, they made that for mainstream. That's really different. Like, you would never get a movie like Pink here in the States right now.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not going to show up in Hollywood. That in the theaters anyway. That might be on Netflix. That might be a straight to video, but in India, that can be a very successful film in the theaters. And so that's what I appreciate about Indian cinema. And so I'm happy that Karan Johar is doing that. Hopefully it's a good movie.
But I think that's also like going down with now post-COVID. Like smaller films are not really working that well unless there's some controversy behind them. But I think even in Hollywood, I've noticed in recent past that post-COVID especially, that only special and unique films are working. Spider-Verse, Top Gun, Everything Everywhere All at Once. And in that space, RRR gets such a big response in America. I think even the audience is like done with normal stuff. We need something wacky. We need something unique. Do you think that?
To a certain degree, yeah. That's a loaded question. Wow. Because it could literally go anywhere from here. I'm seeing after The Flash came out, I saw a lot of people talking about how they're getting fatigue of multiverse.
Yeah.
How do you get fatigue of multiverse? Like, that's the coolest.
Spider-Verse worked, right?
Yeah, that's literally the coolest concept you could possibly have is the multiverse. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't get any cooler than that. What else, what is bigger than the multiverse other than, like, I was about to say, like, the ending of Men in Black, where it's like, but that's still like, you're still dealing with like the universe and multiverse. I just think that's such a cool idea. But the notion that you can get tired of the multiverse means that at some point you hit a plateau.
Yeah.
No matter what, whatever is driving people, it's going to hit a plateau. After 3 weeks, Universal put Fast X on streaming. 3 weeks. That's weird. Like, as a kid, I had to wait like a year for Jurassic Park. Honestly, I don't know where this is headed. I think everybody's scared. And
That's true.
everybody's freaking out because they don't know what to do, and they're afraid AI is going to take over. And I'm like, everyone's getting scared of something they don't even understand. Like, we don't know what AI is going to do.
Yeah.
And like, you see these ads pop up and like, here's what you can do to prepare for AI. And it's like, you can't prepare for AI. Like, you don't know where it's going to go. You have no idea what's ahead. But that being said, I feel like there's still a stronger emphasis in India on the smaller stories
Yeah.
than you'll see here. But that being said, for whatever reason, I'm more curious about it when it's in India than I am when it's in America. And it might show up on Netflix or Amazon Prime, and I'll be like, oh, that looks like something I might watch it when I'm like free, and that I'm not often free.
Yeah.
And so I don't watch it. Whereas I more likely will watch it because if it's Indian.
I don't know. I feel very overwhelmed because I'm not someone who has grown up watching films and loving films. It happened very late for me, so I've not watched a lot of classics. I've not watched a lot like must watch things. And every week there are 10 releases in theaters, OTT. There are 5 shows coming out. Everyone's saying this is the best show ever made, and you're like, where to begin with? You don't have enough time, and then you have to make videos. You have to watch something, you have to think about it, make a video or react to it. Like, it all takes time, and it's like you don't have enough time.
Yeah, I think that we need a programmable 8-ball where we can tell it, okay, here's the films I'm thinking about, and then you shake it, and whatever it pops up, you just have to commit to that and go, that's what I'm doing. You can kind of do the same thing if you just kind of like, it's like that game people play, the rich people play, where they spin the globe, and they close their eyes and they touch a country, they go, that's where I'm going. I feel like you have to do that with Netflix and Amazon and all these companies now, because you're right. Like, there is so much content. It's not just that there's so much content. There's so much good content.
Yeah.
That you get that what's called analysis paralysis. I've spent hours like going through Netflix trying to figure out something to watch, and I'm like, oh, that looks cool. And I add that, and I add this, and I add that, and then I've done nothing, and I got to go back to work. So
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Like, it's tough. There's a lot of good stuff, and everyone's competing for your eyes. I have no idea how people watch movies now, how people just pick something. But I think that's what you just got to do, is just like take a gamble and commit.
I think for us, the 8-ball is the YouTube algorithm, right?
Sure.
Okay, this is going to work the best for us, so let's focus. I think for me, Malayalam content works the best for me, so I have to prioritize that over anything else. And I think for us, that's the way. And I think, what do you do in your like downtime? Like, because we as creators are always watching something. That's our work.
Yeah.
So in downtime, for other people, it's like watching movies. What do you do?
I have YouTube stuff that I watch. I have YouTube content that I go to, like you mentioned Colin and Samir.
Yeah.
I had that going in the background while I was fixing my YouTube template, my Adobe Premiere template for my editors. I'll watch Philip DeFranco, who's a news show. I watch a lot of tech channels. There's a YouTube channel called Max Tech, and they talk about Apple computers a lot, and I watch them. I love camera stuff. But there's a movie channel I watch obsessively called Mr. Sunday Movies, and they have a section on there. There's a section on there called Caravan of Garbage, and it's literally just 2 guys kind of riffing on movies, and it's funny, and it's like twice in a row. Their last 2 videos, I listened to it twice in a row.
Yeah.
Back to back. Like, it was on Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull today, and I just had such a good time listening to it. I'm like, let me just play that again, because I enjoyed it so much. That's what I listen to in my downtime. Are you simply asking about content, or are you asking what I do in general in my downtime?
Yeah, like I would assume, because you spend so much screen time, maybe in downtime you don't want the screen to be in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't. But lately I've been obsessed with a video game called Legend of Zelda: The Tears of the Kingdom. That's kept me up late, more than I care to admit. I'll go to the gym as often as possible, but in the past, since I got back from India, there have been a lot of like 10 to 12 hour days where like I go into the office and I don't come home until like 11 o'clock, and I don't know where the time went. I'm just working. And it's like, and then it's not just shooting videos. It's like, you're handling the politics of running a YouTube channel, you know,
Yeah.
and just dealing with edits and correcting things and like just trying to fine tune. I haven't had a lot in the way of downtime, but when I do, I try my best to. I just go on YouTube. Honestly, I just go on YouTube and I look at what the algorithm tells me about, and I go, okay, that's cool, and I open like 20 Chrome tabs, and I just go through them.
Yeah.
So
I think I had spent most time watching YouTube and then realized I should have watched a movie instead. But no, let's one more. JB has uploaded one more reaction. Let's go. I have to say I've not subscribed to the channel because there are two reasons. One is that technically because if I'm subscribed and not watching the content, everything, then YouTube may think the content is not good, not gonna promote it. So I don't subscribe. Other reason is just distraction. It's just I want to work and then the new videos come. No, I cannot. So at least, and I think the browse system is on YouTube so good that it whenever something I would like to watch, it already shows up in my feed. So I'm like, cool. I hope you don't mind.
I don't mind. There's a lot of people who aren't subscribed that watch, and I don't. YouTube has an. I don't know. Like I don't know how YouTube feels about that. Like I had a talk once with a YouTube rep, and he's like, like 60% or 70% of your audience is not subscribed, and I'm like, but they're watching. I don't know why that matters. Like,
Yeah.
what difference does it make? If they hit subscribe, it's not like I'm getting paid anymore. What difference does it make to you? Like.
Yeah.
I don't really understand why that's important because people will obsess over those numbers. You
Yeah.
know, like I got asked last night by somebody at that barbecue, like, what are you going to do for your 2 million subscribers? And I was like, dude, that was a while ago. Why are we still talking about the 2 million subscribers? Like, I don't want to do anything for it. I'm so tired.
No, on this only, do you think subscriber is dying? Like the number is dying? I think because I follow a lot of YouTube channels talking about YouTube and how to do it, and they talk about it's more about views. Don't obsess over subscribers. But I think it gives you a milestone because I hope by the time this goes out, I reach 50K. I'm very close. But that does give you a good feeling. Like if you get that plaque and behind, I can show off. Then it feels cool. But I think other than that, like monetary wise, it doesn't really make sense. Except once you reach 1,000 subscribers, done.
I think that when I hit 100,000 subscribers, the plaque I got for that, for what at the time it was called Jaby Koay, now it's called
Yeah.
Cinedesi.
Yeah.
When I got that, I felt proud, and then after that, I stopped caring
Yeah.
because I got them. I mean, I'm just being transparent. Like I got the million subscribers, and I'm like, that's cool. I think it was more exciting for the audience than for me because I'm just thinking about the work.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not thinking half full, half empty. Is there something in the glass? I'm good. Let's keep going. Like I'm just in that kind of I don't want to say autopilot. I think that there's a part of me that is superstitious and I don't want to admit it. It's this thing I keep in the corner, right? And so it's like if I don't think about it being good or bad, it can't hurt me. I just have to focus on doing the work. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, I got it. It's like a small part of Voldemort in your head.
Yeah, exactly.
Hiding.
Yeah. No, well, when I was 13, I was supposed to test for black belt.
Okay.
And what happened was my test was coming up, and everybody kept saying, "Good luck, good luck, good luck, good luck on your test, good luck, good luck." And it just made me feel weirder and weirder every time someone said good luck. I'm like, something's gonna go wrong. I don't know why, but they keep saying good luck, and that's making me feel weird. So my martial arts school comprised of 3 locations,
Okay.
and my dad sent my mom to the wrong location the morning of my black belt test. So I
Oh my God.
was 45 minutes late to my black belt test, and they held up the test for 20 minutes because of me.
Oh.
And so they made me go through the whole test for 5 hours just to fail me.
Oh my God.
And
Oh.
so I had to wait 5 months. I had to go through the system for 5 months and like prep all over again to test in 5 months. And I was there really early next time. So I guess it was a necessary humbling lesson. But ever since then, I really dislike when people tell me good luck because it feels like they're telling me something that's outside of my control. So anytime I'm hanging out with someone or dating someone and they say good luck, I'm like, don't say that ever. You can tell me, do your kick ass or work hard. Don't say good luck. Tell me something that's within my control, like something that I actually have power over, because you're telling me something that is like aloof and abstract.
Yeah.
And it just makes me anxious. And so I try not to think about things in positive or negative ways. I just think like, okay, what am I doing? Let's do that.
Even I always, instead of good luck, I try to say all the best. I don't say luck and everything.
I'm okay with all the best, even though it's kind of saying good luck. It doesn't have the same feeling that I
Yeah.
think I've just got this weird training in my brain that's happened where it's like I just hate those words together.
Yeah.
So,
Talking
yeah.
about martial arts, I just want to share a quick funny story with me. So when I was in Delhi, in my school we had this extracurricular period, and for a year or two, I think I took taekwondo, and I think I
Oh,
reached yellow belt. But the
oh,
funny
nice.
thing, we had we had this competition where you, like, I think, advance and you get a medal or something.
Hmm.
So it was my first match. I went in. The guy was little huge, you know.
Oh, wow.
He was, I think, above my age. So
Oh,
we started, and he hit me in my face, and I fell down, knocked out. Not knocked out, but I was just down, and I was just trying to get up, and they just disqualified the match because it was not equal. So I
they
went to the
couldn't see that
next.
before the match started?
I don't know. Maybe because I was like a little, I had more height than my age, so maybe that's why. So they
Okay.
disqualified the match, and I went to the next round. Next round I lost, but I got a bronze medal.
Oh, nice.
I
Nice.
think I still had that, but yeah, then I never. But anyways, do you have a good work-life balance? I guess no.
It's getting there. It's getting there slowly. I mean, but what's happening lately is I've been putting Achara in charge more and more,
Okay.
and I'm stepping away more and more. Like I'm still shooting, and I'm
Yeah.
still like observing things through Slack, or through WhatsApp. I'm like communicating with the team and keeping an eye on things. But more and more, I'm kind of just letting Achara lead the charge, so that I
Yeah.
can focus on other things creatively. It's hard because it's like I kind of I'm so used to like focusing on that, and the thing is like. Can I even actually step away? I had these interviews that I shot while I was in India, and I was like, okay, I just need to get these interviews out. And then the last one was the Fatima Sana Sheikh interview.
Yeah.
It's out. I'm like, okay, I'm done. Now I got to deal with the vlogs.
Yeah. I was just gonna say.
So- and I'm like, God dang, when am I going to find the time for this? And I don't trust anybody. The problem with my vlogs is I don't trust anyone to edit them. Nobody. It's like, it's got to be me because it's like a very personal thing, but I need to find the time for it. And so I'm hoping that I'll find a balance between like creating like stuff that's outside of YouTube, creating and editing the vlogs. That's my,
Yeah.
my two things right now. That and getting less fat. So,
In 2021, I went to Hyderabad, and I went to
okay.
Ramoji City, and it was my best time. I shot a vlog, and I've still not edited it.
Yeah, it's
I've like
intimidating.
I have a whiteboard. I've written it, vlog edit. It's been 2 years.
Yeah.
it's
So,
just
so it's never going to stop being intimidating. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like you just, I'd say that kind of like writing a book or writing anything, just take it like tiny piece by piece
yeah,
and just like, and be okay with the fact that you only did a little bit. That's the hard part because you feel like you got to do the whole thing. It's like you don't
yeah,
have to climb Mount Everest. It's like you just do a little bit at a time and eventually it's done,
yeah.
Because right now what you're doing is you're thinking about the whole thing as opposed to just thinking about, I just got to do the first 20 seconds,
Yeah.
and then go from there. That's my advice on anyone who's dealing with that because I know what it feels like.
Talking about now Achara taking more, the headache from you, or in charge of things. And I think that's a transition you went, from being a content creator to an entrepreneur in a way. First you had multiple channels, you got Achara, working with you, you got your sister. Then it went on to, bringing more people who are now, you have a team, and changing the name. And that was very bold. Was
Yeah,
it
yeah.
anxious? Like, will people accept and all?
Well, I did a Sonic the Hedgehog there by accident. You know the story with Sonic the Hedgehog with Paramount?
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, the first trailer of Sonic the Hedgehog came out and people hated it. They're like, he looks awful.
Yeah.
So they put out another trailer and they're like, okay, that one looks fine. But if they had put out the second one first,
No one
I,
would.
I,
Yeah.
I really wonder what people would have felt
Yeah.
because we have no idea. We only know what people feel now, right?
Yeah.
And so with Cinedesi, that wasn't the first name. The first name was the Masalas because I couldn't get Cine Masala, and people hated it. So I did Cinedesi, and then people were like, okay, that doesn't suck as much. That's fine,
Yeah.
And then eventually people just got used to it.
By the way, I still, like, when I search, I just write Jaby Koay and it still shows up.
I hope you stop doing that.
Okay, done. I change it
I
right
want
after this.
I want people to search Cinedesi. I really want them to look for that because I want YouTube to know that that's a thing. Now someone had asked me someone told me that last night actually, and I said, look, here's the thing, because the person I was talking to last night, I'm like, you've been watching my channel for 7 years. But there's a lot of people who used to watch my channel that don't anymore. They've,
Yeah.
if for whatever reason, they just don't. It's like there's a multitude of reasons that can happen. But new people come in, and there are plenty of people who are discovering my channel now as
Yeah.
Cinedesi.
Yeah.
And eventually, over time, the people who know it as Jaby Koay become a smaller portion of the audience, and the people who know it as Cinedesi become a much more substantial part of the audience. Whether
Yeah.
that is people who used to know it as Jaby Koay or people who have only known it as Cinedesi. So I don't think about it too much, but since we're talking about it, please don't look for Jaby Koay, look for Cinedesi.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
But talking about the transition, right? I want to know first personally what, it's like giving away your baby, or, expanding and having like a overview of it, but not involved in every, part of the process.
Yeah.
What was that like? And technically, like, what is the procedure of, doing this? Like, because I think even like last time I had a podcast with someone and he told me, you will burn yourself if you're just doing just with your face and yourself. You need to expand. So what is that process like? So I want to know that.
It's a very difficult one, if I'm being totally honest, especially if you're someone who's obsessive like me.
Yeah.
And you're very, very particular. The hardest lesson to learn with YouTube is that no one gives a shit as much as you do. And that is both good and bad. The reason it's good is when it comes to the audience, right? It's like there are things I care about from end to end that I would like obsess over. I would obsess over like 4 frames in a video going, oh,
Yeah.
the audio here. I got to fix and I'll like really like spend 10, 20, 30 minutes on fixing 4 frames, which is absurd, right? People watch it and they're not thinking about the 4 frames that I fixed. They're like, all right, it's done. And then they're done with it. No one is thinking at all about those 4 frames, right? Or like I used to do a thing called, what was it? In openings, I used to do like a little trivia,
Yeah.
right? And Achara and I would spend so much time obsessing over what this trivia should be. And eventually we're just like, yo, like how many people actually care about this? Because it goes by so quick. And a lot of people skip the intro.
Yeah.
So we just stopped doing it. And then in the comments, people would get mad. And they're like, oh, I was one of those people that would hit it was called the pause game, I think, or something like that. And
Yeah, I
eventually people
remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and then people stopped
Sometimes
asking
it was
about
really hard, huh? Sometimes
Yeah.
I just go back, stop it.
Well, I don't understand why people didn't learn. If you just hit the bracket on the keyboard, you'll go frame by frame.
No, on phone.
On
It's
the
really
phone,
hard
yeah,
to do on the phone, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Most people watch on the phone. But yeah, eventually we stopped because it just not enough people were. We were expending so much energy on this little thing
Yeah.
that had very little reward. And in a long-winded way, what I'm trying to say is, I think that people like me who are perfectionists get so obsessed over everything, and it's like that can really harm you. It can harm your time, your energy, your quality of life. And it's like if you get 90% of the way there, at a certain point you have to go, it's good enough, man. It's good enough, especially for our content. It's what I call very disposable content. And I don't mean that in a negative way. What I mean
Yeah,
is
got it.
you watch it one time and you're good. Sometimes you'll go back and watch a reaction again because you just really enjoyed that moment. But generally speaking, you're done with it after one viewing.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like a movie. And so with that in mind, why am I obsessing over those 4 frames, And so I had to really condition myself to be more okay. And then like what I do is I do the ostrich technique of just like I stick my head in the sand a lot and I go, it's probably okay. And I try not to pay attention. And I'll look at the comments. I'm like, okay, no one's complaining about anything. Okay, everything's fine. And I do this a lot. If I see anyone complain, I immediately go to my team. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Why are they complaining about this? Then I got to go in and I got to open up the doors and I got to start like, and then I give them my feedback, So what I'll do these days is I put in a lot of trust into my team, into Achara, into my sister, into Praper. Praper is our editing team. I will just like kind of leave them in charge a lot of the time. And then every once in a while, I'll pick out a video and I'll look at it and I'll give my feedback,
Okay.
and my feedback can be kind of harsh sometimes. I'm very, very particular. And so my technique is to just trust that it's okay. People are still enjoying it. And you kind of look at the numbers and you're like, okay, people are still happy. okay, look, think about this over here instead. This is okay. You know, it's a hard process, especially if you're obsessive.
Yeah.
And so I don't really have a clean cut answer other than you need to find people that are passionate about you, about what you do, and about their participation in it.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes, you know, you'll find people who are either not enthusiastic or they are pretending to be enthusiastic, at least in LA. Like
Yeah.
Andrew, for instance, is legitimately passionate. Like
Yeah.
when we are done watching an Indian movie, he's still talking about that movie for an hour afterwards. Like, dude, we just talked about it for 30 minutes on camera and you're still talking about it. Like, he is legitimately passionate. And that's what you want. You want people
Yeah.
like that. You want to surround yourself with people like that who like just care so much and want things to be good like you want it to be good.
Yeah.
You want people that will like fight with you to make it better. Because a lot of people, they're just they're just showing up for whatever. I don't want to go too deep into it, but like there's a lot of people who will just show up for a paycheck and then that's it.
Yeah.
They don't really care, or they just want clout. You know, it's like, no, you need people who are passionate, and that's
Yeah.
the hard thing to find. You know, you have to really search for it. So that's the secret.
I think, yeah, Andrew is, I think, for me also, even from the comment section, they love him. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, so great choice.
Yeah, he's the new Achara.
Nice one. I get that reference.
Yeah.
But again, I think coming to, I don't know if maybe it's just me wanting an answer. Like, where do you start if you can share that? Like,
You mean with YouTube?
no, with the building of a team.
I think it's a lot of testing and failing. And so
Okay.
with me, I was like, I was bringing on different people, and you know, I would often get the same response afterwards because people didn't know what the hell I was doing when I invited them over. I'm surprised people would come over because I'm inviting them to my apartment to shoot a video. It
Yeah.
sounds weird. Afterwards, people would always be like, "That was really fun. That was really fun." And Achara in particular was like, "I really like doing this. This is super cool. I really like making reaction videos." I thought she was bullshitting because I have no idea when she's like, she has this weird line that she straddles where I can't tell if she's being serious or just making fun of me. But she was being serious and I couldn't get rid of her. She was like legitimately passionate about doing reaction videos. And I was like, okay, cool. Like and so I told her, I'm like, okay, you know, I'll teach you how to do the editing and stuff like that. And that was rough. That was really hard because I want things a particular way, and then sometimes videos would go out with a problem, and I would just lose my shit. I'm surprised she stuck around because like I would lose my shit over like this thing, the 4 frames. You know, I would lose my shit over this thing that no one cared about, and people were fine. The content was still getting views, but I would be obsessive. And that's good and bad, you know. It's crafted a strong foundation.
Yeah.
But then after a certain point, you got to let go and be like, it's okay. It has to evolve in its own kind of organic way. So with me, it's like everything's different. But with me, I kept sharing the experience with people, going, come on my channel. You know, maybe it'll help your social media growth. You know, that's what I kept selling people on. I just wanted new guests.
Yeah.
And so and so with Achara, I kept bringing her on regularly and teaching her how to edit, and that was hard. And people were giving me shit for bringing her on too much. Like they're like, why do you keep? We don't want Achara like all the time. She's cool and all, but god dang, like we need other guests. And then now it's like if Achara's not in the video, people are like, where's Achara? And so yeah, I mean it's just trial and error. I think at the end of the day, and the willingness to mess up, the willingness to fail, and knowing that. I think so many people stop because they don't want to mess up, right?
Yeah.
The thing about it is if you have 0 subscribers or 10 or 100 or even 50,000, you have a lot more room for error than when you have 2 million subscribers. And
Yeah.
so it's like that's when you can experiment and fail and fuck up again and again and again until you get it right. And that includes bringing on people and seeing how it works, seeing if you can hire an editor, seeing if it's affordable. Because I got to tell you, man, there are lots of videos that we've done where all the money that we made went straight to the guest. If
Yeah.
anything, we lost money on a number of videos. Like that happens sometimes, and you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with the hurdles and the failures because, like, at the end of the tunnel is the reward of now you're surrounded by dope people, you know, and you have more freedom than you've had before. You know?
And I think this point of, you know, that you're losing money, that is, I think, something I struggle. I think a lot of people struggle because what I do is that I only spend the money I make from YouTube. nothing else,
Mm-hmm.
and the worry is always that will it work or not. So where do you bring that confidence in that? Did you have this confidence always that what I'm doing is gonna work and let's push it? It's okay to lose money.
I had a
That's
good
a long
mentor.
pause.
I had a really good mentor who gave me confidence. He's been on the channel a number of times in the past. More. I've been trying to get him back. Is Skeeter?
Okay.
He did a Dongal trailer reaction with me, and he also did a movie review with me. I think it was for a Rajnikant film. I can't remember, or some South film. He was the one that kind of showed me the ropes with investing in yourself. And so I can't remember how old I was, but he was like, "You should get a camera. Like, you want to be a filmmaker. You need a camera." And at the time, cameras were really expensive.
Yeah.
It's like we're talking back in the day because now you can shoot on your phone, and it's better quality than whatever I was buying back then. But there was a camera called the Panasonic DVX 100, and it was revolutionary for the time because it was the first camera that like you could buy as a consumer that shot 24 frames per second, which is the
Yeah.
same as film. And so he's like, you got to get a camera and you just, you got to find work with that gear and make that gear work for you. So it
Yeah.
pays for itself. And so I made that an obsession. Like I took my credit card and I bought the camera. I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. I didn't know how I was going to afford it. But it's like I knew that if I put in the time and the effort, I was going to be able to pay it off. And eventually, I found gigs with that camera, and I made money off. I've made so much money off of that camera because I invested
Yeah.
in myself. It was a big risk, but I kept getting gigs shooting with my camera. And so I learned back then that sometimes you have to take a loss to get a gain. Sometimes, like it's. I don't know how to convey that in a way that is like short and sounds cool. It's like the only thing I can say is like if you believe in yourself or you believe in this path that you're walking, you have to be willing to take a loss to have the gain. And it's going to
Yeah.
hurt sometimes. Some that that's just part of life. Like if you constantly live in fear, you're not going to get anywhere. Ships are safe at bay
At the shore. Yeah.
at the shore, but they're meant to be on the sea.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. I've heard. Yeah.
It's
You got it right.
you kind of have to play with your money the same way. It's like if you just hold tight to it all the time and you're not investing in yourself, how are you going to get better? Not that you need like the best gear, but sometimes
Yeah.
you have to spend money to get somewhere and take a chance. But like don't just spend money and not do anything. Like if I
Yeah.
bought the camera and it just sat in my closet, that would be a waste of time and money.
Yeah.
Now it's just a debt. But if I'm putting in my 10,000 hours or whatever it is, like you're gonna make that money back somehow. That was my film school. I didn't go to. I went to college and I studied film, but like my real film school was filming, was
Yeah.
being on sets, and so you only get that by taking a chance.
Yeah.
Here in the States, stunt people, they have to hustle by going to movie sets and kind of like begging the stunt coordinator to look at their DVD or their link or whatever, their video, and being like, hey, can you just like put me in something? Like it's very, very raw like that, where stunt people have to go to film sets and just talk to
Yeah.
coordinators, right? And take a chance. It's like you're taking a chance that you're not going to be able to pay your rent that month because you're on
Yeah.
set hustling as opposed to working a job, I'm surrounded by, like in terms of my stunt friends, I'm surrounded by wildly successful stunt people. I don't know, man. I don't know if that helps or if that's more confusing and convoluted. I apologize for being
No,
long-winded.
no, no, no. I just have to say thank you for not getting rid of Achara. And I know she can hear, but thank you, Achara, for not leaving.
Yeah. She'll hear it afterwards.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Through your YouTube journey, I don't remember any setbacks in any sense, but I felt when OSR came out, our stupid reactions. I
Yeah.
saw in the comments a lot that people are comparing and saying, "Oh, these are better. JB is getting old. I'm not liking it." All of that was happening, and I would say in the style, I would say like you guys are distinct. Like they don't even care how the frame looks, editing, but it's fun because they are like that, and you have everything sorted out, and that also has its own appeal. So when they came out and they again tried to rise and they became your competition in a sense, did that what was the experience like if you would like to share?
To be honest with you, this is gonna sound egotistical. I'm so obsessed with making sure that we're getting what we need to do done
Yeah.
that I didn't really think about them as competition. I was just like, I had my eye. It's like, obviously, I'm aware of what's out there. I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
And it's, but like, I was more just kind of observing and going, okay, do they actually care about,
Yeah.
what they're, are they just hopping on the bandwagon, or do they actually care? And it seems like they actually care from what I've observed. It seems like they
Yeah.
legitimately care about Indian cinema from what little I can see. There are people who go to my comments and try to take a crap on OSR, and I'm like, don't do that. I'm not
Yeah.
interested in that kind of dialogue. Like, people try to start beef for some reason. I'm like, I'm not interested in starting beef with them. I have no qualms with them. I just, like, they are existing in their lane. I'm existing in my lane, and we're each doing our own thing, and it's fine. There is space for both of us. It's a world wide web. Like, there's plenty of space for both of us. And I'm happy that they have a following. I'm happy that I have a following. I'm happy that we have our own style to offer people. So
No, I got
anytime,
it.
anytime someone shows up that's doing really well, obviously there's a part of you that goes, "Oh shit! Like, is this it? Is it over?" you know.
Yeah.
And I have thought about, like, the possibility of people getting tired of me and getting over me and just being done. And that is part of the reason why I decided to expand the team. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, in my mind, and maybe this is pessimistic, in my mind, at some point, people will get tired of me. I kind of mentioned that in my 900,000 subscribers. I guess it was a letter to my audience that I read
Yeah.
of, like, I know that a number of you can't stay here forever. I hope you will, but I get it. There are YouTubers I used to watch that I don't anymore.
Yeah.
And then I come in and out of that community of watching that person again. And so my hope was that if I have a team, it's like you're less likely to be bored because there's a circulation of different opinions in there that can
Yeah.
keep you interested and happy. OSR existing and being there is actually good,
Yeah.
because when you have that kind of comparison or competition or whatever it is, I feel like that just makes everybody better.
Yeah. I
Does
think
that
it's
answer
just
the?
that when there's someone else is there, there's some good friction which actually, like, their people who found them would find you in a that sense.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people who, like, Attila is out, let's watch Jaby, then let's watch OSR.
Yeah.
Or OSR then Jaby. So they, it's like a correlation. People build it, and I think so okay, Jaby said this, what would they say? I think it's a fun way of, I think it helps you also to grow
Yeah.
as a channel, and you don't even realize. I think you got that first mover advantage in a way, and they came later and then they stood out. Do you think if you had started in today's time, where just now, I think everyone following you and OSR now, a lot of people have started and they all are also doing well. Do you think if you had started today in today's time with so much saturation, you would have still made it big?
That's a good question. I haven't thought about that. I'd like to think so, because my approach is
Yeah.
different. But it's impossible for me to really know. I think so.
I
I
think
think that
it's
yeah. I think that if we started today, we'd still make it. I don't know if we would have had the momentum that I had back then, because I
Yeah.
had some crazy momentum. And being totally fair to OSR, I think that they had even better momentum than I did, as far as it goes with starting out.
Yeah.
Like they reached 1 million, I believe, faster than I reached 1 million.
Yeah.
And I think that we've both kind of slowed down a little bit. And I don't know
But I
what that's
feel
about. Yeah.
you created that audience, right? For you created an audience who watch
That's
reaction
fair.
channel.
Sure. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
So yeah.
yeah.
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Yeah. So it's entirely possible that their growth had something to do with what I had established. Well, to answer your question that you asked a second ago, I think that we would still have gotten a lot of success with this,
Yeah.
because of everything you've said and everything I've said. I still think there would have been success for sure. I just think that it may have happened slower.
My intention of the question was like, would you change anything knowing today's time? Would the approach would have been different, or you would have kept what it has been?
Oh, absolutely. If I were to do anything different today, if I started today, I would not have started out with the name Jaby Koay.
Okay.
I would have started out with Cinedesi or some kind of more like team name, like the Real
Yeah.
Rejects. I would have started out with that from the get-go, because I kind of pigeonholed myself. I pigeonholed myself in a weird way where I'm like, oh, God, and I'm trying my best to, like, create this distinct audience from each other. So, like, the YouTube algorithm thing, it has done my head in a real bad way, because it's like you're trying your best to serve your audience, right?
Yeah.
And so what happens is if I put out an American thing and the Indian audience looks for Jaby Koay and they see that thing, it's like it all gets kind of screwed up if that Indian audience member doesn't care about that video.
Yeah.
And YouTube is like, well, that's your audience. And they send the video to them and it's like, but that particular guy in India, in like New Delhi, doesn't give a shit about this little American movie. So why are you sending it over there? And so that has partially informed why we have this distinction now with Cinepals and Cinedesi, because I'm trying my best to like fix the algorithm so that the Indian audience gets exactly what they want, and the American videos find their way to the audience that wants those videos. It's been difficult. I've been seeing the change, which is great, because like I'm seeing the growth where it needs to happen. It's just been like it's frustrating because it's like this thing you have no control over, and I wish I did, because I just want to make my audiences happy. That's it. Like at the end of the day, the whole reason why there's this American channel was because there was so much bickering in the comments on the Jaby Koay channel when it was Jaby Koay, because there were Indians who were angry that I was doing American stuff. They're like, why aren't you just doing more Indian stuff? And then there were Americans who were pissed off that I'm doing Indian stuff. And so I'm trying my best to like serve each of these people as faithfully as possible. You know, even though Cinepals is a much smaller channel, it gets just as much attention as Cinedesi does.
Yeah.
I try my best to like give as much love and effort, not just me, but like by extension everybody involved.
Do you ever feel or have a fear of, getting like irrelevant in a sense that, one day, people will stop watching?
Yeah.
Or is that the fear making you go, continue and pushing forward?
Yeah. No, I mean, no, the fear of being irrelevant is a very real thing. Like, there are people who were big on YouTube in the earlier days of YouTube that they're relics now, and it's weird. Yeah. Like there was a YouTube channel that was very popular called Ask a Ninja, and I remember watching that, and then like 10 years went by, and I looked it up again. He was still making those videos, and it just was like, oh, this is weird that he's still making these videos. It was so bizarre, because like it didn't have the same popularity or anything. And you see stuff like one of my favorite YouTube channels of all time is Bad Lip Reading.
Yeah.
I get legitimately excited every time he puts something new out. He doesn't have the same audience that he once had, and it makes me sad. This guy makes some of the best shit on YouTube, and no one knows it. It makes me so sad when I see his views. And so yeah, it's a real thing, and I just try my best to keep my nose to the grindstone and keep moving forward and keep it interesting as much as I can. But I'm also like trying my best to like, I don't like, you mentioned something earlier about money. I have a rule when it comes to getting paid. Okay. I always put a portion of my money away into savings, because I don't know what tomorrow will bring. I have no idea, and so my recommendation to everybody is, when you get paid, before you pay your rent, before you go to the movies, before you pay your bills, before you do anything, before you celebrate getting a paycheck, put 10% of that money away, and don't touch it. Just don't touch it. And if you're able to put more consistently, where you're still not going to touch it, then put away more. Because like, I know some people who will like fluctuate. They'll like, oh, I'm going to put 5%. I'm going to put 20% this time. But then they'll go and dip into it. It's like, no. That's not the religion. The religion is you just put the money away and you don't touch it unless it's absolutely necessary, and the situation is dire, or you have an investment opportunity of some kind that is going to make you more money. Like, just don't touch it. Every time I get paid, that's what I do. Is I put money away, because I don't know what tomorrow will bring.
That's a good practice. Talking about the future. Where do you think what the future ahead is like? Like, do you think yourself like 10, 15 years? Because last 10, 15 years, you didn't know what will happen. But do you think you have an idea of next 10, 15 years?
I know what I would like it to be.
Okay.
I don't know where it's going to be. I don't even know if YouTube's going to be here in 10 to 15 years. I hope it is. I hope nothing changes. But, you never know. You just don't know. My hope is that in the next 10 to 15 years, I am able to grow creatively in terms of like in terms of movies and stuff like that. I'd really like that to be a strong focus. I'd like to start a family, and I'd like the YouTube to keep growing in organically,
Yeah.
I'd like it to keep whatever that looks like. I'd like it to keep growing. I think it's such a special thing, and it's such a special community. Both Cinedesi and Cinepals, like they're special communities. There is some overlap there. The majority audience, I think, I was looking at the numbers the other day. The majority audience is American now, or Western viewers, and I've been seeing like repeat names on that side where I'm like, oh, I recognize that person, and so like that because that used to only happen on the Indian side, and so
Yeah.
it's like it's just kind of interesting to see like that community, and like those communities are so special, and I know what it feels like to need community, and with how things are and how they're trending and how it's going to continue to trend, we need community more than ever, and it's like
Yeah.
it's sad that it has to be on the internet with people who are ostensibly strangers, right? There's,
Yeah.
but it's like you need community. It's like it's so cool when I see like an actual conversation going in the comments of a video. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, like these people actually found each other and they're having a dialogue. That's super neat. I wish that there could be one of my favorite things to do with YouTube, and I more often do it with the Indian audience than the American audience. I love live streaming.
Yeah.
There's something about it that's just like nice, and
Yeah.
I think it goes back to that community thing. And so I hope it's still here. I hope we still have a YouTube channel,
I think.
or whatever that community is. I hope we still have it.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty, right? That you have built a community that will stick around. Like, they are like, the Koay family. They have their own identity now. I think that's what keeps you relevant for a long time because you have created that, and it's not just a one-off thing. They are not coming like you've changed from oh, this guy's reacting to this movie till I want to watch, to oh, Jaby's reacting to this. Let's watch what it is. I think that whole journey what makes it beautiful. And the like community part, right? Like why I started watching, like I have no one around to talk about movies. I see this guy, he's talking about movies. I like, so let's check it out. I think that's how it starts. Do you get this debate? When YouTube's gonna end, what will you do? YouTube will end. What will happen then? It's not tangible. Like that. Like I feel like nothing is tangible in life.
That's true. That's
Like
very
if
true.
like I feel YouTube is so big that if YouTube is not there, then something's wrong in the world. I'll be worried even more about that than just YouTube shut down. What will I do now?
Well, I think that if you have a community that's strong, they'll find you again on whatever else comes next.
Yeah.
I think that YouTube and Google together are really making sure that they're not going anywhere. I
Yeah.
mean, you think about how long YouTube and Facebook. I know Facebook's kind of like had its ebb and flow, but it's still here.
Yeah.
You think about how long Google has been the number one search engine.
Yeah.
It's like they are making sure that they are here to stay, but there's still ebb and flow. There's still trend, and a new thing might come along that people gravitate towards. You just don't know. And so I think that if YouTube goes away, which I hope it doesn't, there'll be another thing that comes along. And like you said, if YouTube goes away and there's nothing else that comes along, there's probably a much bigger problem in the world that we're dealing with. But that's why that's where I go back to. It's just really important to, if you're a content creator and that's your full time, it's really important to save up. Like just put away money every single
Yeah.
paycheck. Just put away money. Don't touch it. Because you don't know what will come next. You don't know if
Yeah.
you want money to invest or if you need money because there's a problem. Either way,
Yeah.
it's just good to have that nest egg just in case.
Yeah. And I think YouTube is the best place for a content creator because I don't think any other social media platform right now pays you as much as YouTube does. Like TikTok became a big competition, but even that, people creators are not happy. They are not getting that much from it that it can replace YouTube as a best place for the creators.
Not yet. But TikTok, I don't know what the future of TikTok is because like they're trying to ban it here in the States.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it got banned in India.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to ban it in the States. I'm like, I don't know I don't know how that software is going to survive if you're not in India or America. Like, who's using it at that point? It's
Yeah.
like the thing is, you want something with global reach. YouTube gives you that.
Yeah.
Twitch gives you that, right? And so I don't know, but like you're right though. TikTok at one point was giving YouTube a run for its money. I think it still could if they play their cards right.
Yeah.
And get into the good graces of India again.
Yeah, like I never used TikTok, and when it got banned, I'm like, fine. But I feel like using Insta Reels and Shorts, and that's much better for me personally. And my friends are already there. I don't have to shift to another platform altogether to enjoy something. I'm getting it for where I am right now. So I never felt TikTok would, take over anyway
Yeah.
because others have too much power. As creative people, right, and the work schedule and everything we have, is it harder to find a partner who can, easily handle that side of ourselves? And I'm sure, you would get moody, you would angry because something's not working, and that will affect that relationship.
In LA, it can be easier because there's a lot of
Yeah,
actresses,
yeah,
and there's a lot of people who work in the industry and they kind of get it. But there was someone I was seeing who didn't understand my drive
yeah,
because she herself is not driven. If you are a driven individual and you get together with someone who is not driven, either of one of a few things will happen. They will accept you and just be chill when you got to do your thing. They will become driven themselves or they will bring you down. If I'm dating someone, I can get really really obsessed of like with that relationship and like a Bollywood movie. And so if I'm spending time with someone who doesn't have drive, I'm very careful around them because I might have to leave just because they don't get it. Anyway, I don't know if that answers the question at all. It is complicated because some people don't get when you have an obsession. You'll say you have 200, a quarter of a million subscribers and you got to turn up every week, right? And
yeah.
then you start dating someone who's an engineer or something, or I don't know, whatever, a nurse or a doctor, a regular job, and they're like, why can't you just like not put up videos for like a month so we can, you know what I mean? Like you already feel the things that I know you're feeling off of hearing that question. You know what I mean? Because it's like you have an obsession with making this happen, and some people just don't get that. And
Yeah.
so, in short, yes, it can be difficult.
But I think what I can relate to is like, with just my parents, because I'm since COVID, I haven't been home. I
Yeah.
work from home only. There, I feel this tension when, so I am in a, thinking about something. I'm in a mood. What happens is like, oh, dinner is ready. Come for dinner. But oh, I have to just finish the editing. I have to put the thumbnail. That's just 5 minutes. Wait. And keep getting angry. This is one of the situations, I think that's where I feel, because, and what happens is everyone around you, you feel, hey, it's what you're doing what you love, it's your own business. You can take vacation whenever you want, take off. No, it doesn't work like that. There's more
Yeah.
responsibility when you're not doing a job, for
Yeah.
someone else. You are doing
Yeah.
your own work. So I
Yeah.
think that sometimes that's not what everyone gets
Yeah.
about this life.
Yeah.
That
No, I
Yeah,
agree with you. The only thing I can say to that though is to make the most while you can of spending time with your parent.
yeah,
There's
that's my attempt. Yeah,
there's this special by Aziz Ansari after he almost got canceled. He put out this special and he talked about how the most you will ever have seen your parents is before you go off to college, like
yeah,
those first 18 years or whatever. Like that's the majority of how much you will ever spend with your parent. And after that, it becomes like once every few days, once every week, once every other week, once a month, once every few months, and you see them less and less and less and less,
yeah,
and then they die. And it's like, what were you so busy doing that you could not spend more time with them? You know? And
yeah,
so, to anyone in any field, whatever it is that you do, I always try to stress with people see your family whenever you can. Obviously, don't be obsessed, but like, just make a point to see them regularly so that you have no regrets when they go. So, you gave as much love as you could. And
yeah,
love and time. So, because there's this like weird thing with our brain where we think they're always going to be there, but they're not.
yeah.
And it's crucial that you give that energy to them
Yeah.
while they're there.
I think for me, lockdown was a blessing in disguise in a sense because I've seen it up personal because my dad always stayed away from home and he thought, okay, now I'll bring them back to me. I'll live with them. And it never happened. And it's over. So I think I've seen that. So I always, I want to stay with them.
Yeah.
And I think lockdown YouTube in a way has helped that. So I hold it like more closer, like I need it to work out. You said one thing, everything is getting good and good nowadays. But do you think that is raises the bar of what is the best because everything is good? Like, what is how you look at the movie? Like, what is for you? Okay, was worth my time.
That's an interesting question. I think that my threshold for what is good has changed over the years.
Okay.
I enjoyed The Flash for what it was. It's like I'm more critical, but I'm also more open at the same time. I'll enjoy
Yeah.
something that other people think is crap. But at the same time, I'll be hypercritical, and people are like, "Oh, you're such a curmudgeon. Like, why are you so critical?" It's like because I love movies.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I dislike the film. I'm just critical. I liked Extraction 2 a lot, but I had complaints. But that doesn't mean I
Yeah.
didn't like the movie. I just like there are things that could have been better. And I say this as a critic. I don't know what it's like to make Extraction 2. I don't know what went into that. So
Yeah.
all I know is my feeling when I watched it. I do think that we are cultivating potentially a spoiled generation by accident because there's such immediate access to things and so much shit is so good. How I don't even know how to answer your question, to be honest with you. I guess it raises the bar. I mean, it can't help but raise the bar, but at the same time, you have so many people that watch films and they're like, it was better 20 years ago. And you'll always have those people. So like, is it raising
Yeah.
the bar? I don't know if there's any bar to be raised anymore. I feel like in some ways, I feel like we've kind of plateaued in everything everywhere all at once. It wasn't like a huge budget,
Yeah.
It was a very interesting idea. It's like every story has been told. So what is your perspective on things? And I feel like you will always find new perspectives. It may not be brand new, but it'll be new to you because of just like the circulation of things. Is it Cinedesi or Jaby Koay? It's not new, but it might be new to you. So I don't think raising the bar is really the thing anymore. It's just like kind of like clothes, things come and go, trends come and go, and I feel like at some point, at a certain point, we're gonna reach and something else is gonna come forward, and it's like, oh, we haven't talked about that or looked at it this way in a long time.
The discourse have become so binary that you have to either hate it or you have to absolutely love it. No one talks about the details, and I think even the algorithm wants to like portray it as you have to touch an extreme. If you just say movie review, no one's gonna click. You either say it's horrible or it's worse, someone will gonna click. Why is that? And I think I got hate for John Wick because in the title and everything, I am disappointed. And I said it's well-made movie. It's absolutely great film, but emotionally, I didn't feel connected. That's why I didn't like it. And no one wants to care. Everyone, you are just hater. You don't know anything, and you just keep getting those comments because no one wants to talk about the details.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's what I missed today in today's world.
I think that as you grow, you don't have to worry about that quite as much. I saw Jeremy Johns is a YouTuber or
Yeah.
a movie reviewer, and I think just today he put out his review for Indiana Jones. That movie came out days ago, I think, right?
Yeah.
And so I realized that it didn't matter that he put it out late because people want to see his perspective. And I
Yeah.
think that you reach a certain point where you don't need to resort to those tactics of worst or best thing ever. I think that when you're
Yeah.
growing, you have to.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, people just want to. I watch Marquez Brownlee because I like hanging out with him.
Yeah.
Like sometimes the tech he's talking about, I don't really give a shit necessarily. I just want to hang out with him.
Yeah.
And I think that that's an important thing to recognize. It's like there's thousands of hours of me espousing about movies. No one is taking all that and crafting a compendium of all the brilliant things Jaby Koay has said. They just want to hang out with me. But all I'm trying to say is that I understand the compulsion to go to those top shelf words, to go to those extreme words of like worst, best, whatever. I've done that.
Yeah.
But you reach a point where people just want to hang out with you. And you don't need to say that. For me, if I'm reviewing an Indian film, for instance, I don't say worst or best, ever. Say, Salman Khan, whatever movie review. And if people are interested in my opinion on it, they will click on it. But I have that luxury with my Indian audience. They care about my opinion. I don't have that luxury on my American side, so sometimes I have to resort to those stupid tactics, which is very frustrating. I don't want to, but I've done weird things. Like I've compared Eternals to what was that Disney movie called? It was this one with the Bruno song?
Encanto.
Encanto, yeah.
Encanto.
I said Eternals versus Encanto, and people got really mad. They're like, "How can you compare? This is so dumb. This is like half the comments were like, this is dumb. Why would you compare it?" And I'm like, if you watch the video, I make a good argument as to why they are comparable. Moreover, what matters is I didn't like Eternals and I liked Encanto. So I'm just saying, like, that was an experiment to try to get interest.
And we can sit here all day, but we cannot actually. But I'll not take more of your time. Last question. I have a lot to ask, but last question: are you happy?
That's a great question.
In general.
That's one of my favorite questions to ask people. Actually, I think I am. It's not something I can be like, yes. It's one of those things I have to think about. I'm like, am I? I think I am, and when I sit and think about it, it's like, okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like today, for instance, I woke up at like 10:30. A lot of people my age don't have that luxury. You
Yeah.
know, where you can wake up at 10:30 and you're still making money.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I've got great people that I work with. Obviously, there are things in my life that I want to be better or improved or you know, change. But I'd say my life is pretty awesome. And when I think about just like my position relative to the world, I am quite happy. There's so much. I don't sit and think about that though, because there's like so much. Like I told you earlier, I'm not thinking glass half full or half empty. I'm
Yeah.
thinking, is there something in the glass? And sometimes when you do that too much, you forget to remember that you're happy. In short, yes, I am. However, there's a lot that I want to do. There's a lot that I want to improve still, and grow and expand on. If that's any way to answer your question.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for your time. I've taken a lot of it, but thank you for doing this. It feels very special to me, and I hope I learned a lot listening to you. Like some of the questions I had from my side, and I'm sure people listening to it also will get something, and they'll have a good time. And thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
The worst that'll happen is that I help them fall asleep.
Sure not, surely not. I actually listen to podcasts while before sleeping. I do sleep, but no, I'll still listen in the morning.
Okay.
Completed.
Well, hopefully I didn't bore anybody.
Yeah. So, guys, that was the podcast. I hope you had a good time. Again, if you did, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what other guests you want. I'll try to get them. And yeah, I hope you learn something. Get something from this podcast. That's the main aim. So, I hope you had a good time. And in the next one, this is a video you can try out if you haven't. And I'll see you next time.